Hey KG, hey Pepper. Good morning. We're just kicking off here, and I'm still getting things set up. Oh, I know what's weird about that. Just put it there. That should do. Okay. Let's see who else we've got. Amazing. Nihal Sarin competing evenly here with Magnus Carlsen. Or more than evenly. Who knows? The endgame might be slightly in White's favor. Secret superstar. Mackenzie Molnar. I haven't seen him play in a while. Queen against rook and 2 knights. Yikes. I guess with this kind of centralization, Magnus is doing fine. White wants to eliminate the pawn on the queen side. Draw. So let's go back to Chris's game. Drawn as well. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. These players are so good. And look who we've got playing here for us today. Our manager, Mr. Kavutskiy. This knight's not looking healthy at the moment. Woo! He escaped it. He escaped it. But I guess at a pretty high cost, huh? The full central dark square pawn structure. Ay caramba. That looks rough. But next game will go really well for him. He's playing against somebody rated over 3,000 right now. Yikes. Yikes. But let's give Kostya a follow anyway so we can see all his games. And let's see, I can find Shankland here. And a rook ending. Pushes that pawn. So his plan's going to be like a5, rook takes b3, rook takes e2. First, tries to slow down White a step, huh? a5, there we go. Now he's really going to be tempted to take and take, but he doesn't. Good call. Oh, take here. That's killer. Oh my gosh, you can't play g4 there. Oh man. No. Rook b3. GG. This game is done. Might as well save your time, Mitraba. Might as well save your time. And go do something else with it. Play the next game. The format in the arena is that, you know, everybody plays as many games as they want to or as they can. So when you know that you've lost a game, you might as well just move on. I see that two of the top Azeri grandmasters, Shakryar Mamedyarov and Vasif Durarbaili, are paired against each other. That's funny. Arjun Erigaisi against Linear Dominguez. Wow. Intense. Why are they playing 3-0? That's what chess.com likes or thinks fans like. Sam is up a pawn. Jospim has sacked a pawn to get a pretty unopposed kingside attack. So it's a very, very scary position for Sam. He plays h5 to avoid knight h6 check, sacking the knight for 2 pawns in front of his king. And now queen b4 before bishop b5, huh? Terrifying situation. This is his big defensive option, but he has to decide whether to spend another move before doing it. Now he'll do it, yeah. This looks reasonable for Sam. Reasonable for Sam. Did you know, Past Pawn, that Kramnik won the last titled Tuesday? I was surprised to see that myself. I didn't even think he'd play, much less win. Okay, so they come out into an equal endgame. I was trying to set some things up, so I missed how everything got traded off, but very happy to see an endgame. Always fun to see an endgame. So he's preparing to try and trade rooks. Sam's maybe trying to prepare to come around behind and attack these pawns. Knight to b3 should be enough to draw, huh? Sam's going to push e5 next. It looks like it's come out to be a draw. Yeah, draw agreed. Nothing either player can do. Let's have a look at Kostya. Naka played the Bomb Cloud against Kramnik. Oh man, Kramnik must have been really angry. Dang. He must have been really angry. F3, king F2. Yeah. Oof. Do not do that against Kramnik. Kostya's up a pawn against the GM. His queen might be trapped, but he's up a pawn. She finds a square. Creeping in. Yikes. Gets her a back rank mate. That seems like a good idea to me. That's what I would have done. Takes over the long diagonal. Let's go, Kostya. Hold it together. Queen f6, I would guess now. Oh, right. You can just trade everything off. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, anything's fit to play pretty much, Schneck. As long as there's a reason for it. And there's a reason for the Larson opening. Ooh, centralizing that queen. Taking the A pawn. Struggling to get back and defend. Oof. There goes the pass pawn. Shoot. Oh, but Kostya's got a time lead as well. And Kostya takes him down. Kostya! Actually, am I allowed to cheer when somebody flags? I think Black was drawing. No, I'm not allowed to cheer when somebody flags. Not me. But overall, Kostya played a great game. However we look at it. So. Okay, this bishop's struggling a little bit. I think passed pawn, I'm going to guess, okay? Obviously, you know that I'm in favor of increments. I'd be in favor of it being 3 hours instead of 3 minutes. But My guess is that in an arena format, an increment is frowned upon because it gives too much room for someone to keep a game going forever. So like let's say you've got a really good player who's scoring a lot of points for your team, and then they get into a game with someone on the other team who's much lower rated. That player, while losing, could keep your good player occupied for a super, super, super long time. I definitely don't understand why Queen C2 was played there in that order. Oh, that's why. If Rook D4 was going to play Queen H6. Ooh, vicious. Now Queen F4. Queen F6 is a big threat here. Because if King F8, Queen H8's mate. But that's a great move from Black. And a great move from Gukesh. Splitting the rooks apart. He's going to sack a pawn and play something like Queen F6, Rook B1. This first, in case of a rook sack on D6, the queen's fine where she is. Well, you can always throw in Queen F6 then too. Which move was terrible, Rad Dude? These players are pretty good. So unless they're playing something like, you know, Queen E3 or Queen D4 as a mouse slip, their moves are probably not that terrible. See, I do feel like with the Queen on F6, this would be even stronger. Rook G1, that's good. You think White should have played Queen F6 first? Okay, but anytime you think that Gukesh is making a mistake, the odds are that it's us making a mistake. I also thought Queen F6 first looked good, but I'm sure I was wrong. Wow, Rochelle's really good at blitz. Shockingly good. Queen E8 might do it. No, then there's Queen D6. Wow. So he's got to throw another spanner into the works. She has to take it. Oh, she defends. Oh, there goes the bishop. Wow. And Rook E7. Dang! I would have lost from either side. They're so good. I would have lost that game from either side. Incredible. Yeah, Eric. So this is an extra PCL event before the playoffs. All the players from all the different teams are invited to play one big arena together. You can't get paired against people from your own team. See how we're doing as club standings. 8th place right now as a club. That's pretty great. Now, Capybaras have 47, which is outrageous. Just not on the scale of any other team. I don't know how they did it. It feels like they started half an hour early or something. Let's see. The number one player is playing for the Capybaras. And he's got as many points by himself as most teams. Well, that explains it. They've got a team plus they've got him or something. That's phenomenal. Oh, Jospim's also a Capybara, of course. He's doing great. Supi and Villagra. Wow. What a team. Bravo. They're doing great. Our team's doing well, too, by our standards. So happy that we've got some points. This is quite a matchup. Gukesh versus Prague. Yeah, not sure. If you play bishop e4, you're giving up a bad bishop, but you're also giving up the bishop pair. And what do we ever hope to win with? So he keeps the bishop that for the moment looks bad. But maybe he can do something with it later. Wants to go queen h3 to get out of here. No. No, thank you. So it'll be queen g4 instead. Oh, happy to see the knight retreat. Happy to see that for sure, from White's perspective. The rooks might all come off on the f file. That would be okay for White. White could still press that endgame without any rooks. So, right, there's a Yospam and a Yapi here, right? Oh my goodness, and now Yospam scored more points, and the Capybaras are in first and second place individually. That's crazy. And Jordan has more points than his teammate Magnus and his boss when he works as his second. We've got two St. Louis archbishops, Theodoru, 3,100, scoring even more points than Fabi, who's the bigger name in classical chess at least. Then you've got Grishuk, Chris Yu doing great. Gukesh has 3 out of 3. His games just haven't finished as fast as some people who've finished 7 games. Unbelievable. Some of these people may have a lot more experience just playing in, this game should be a draw, for example, just playing in arenas, and they may know better when to resign and offer draws just to get more games played. Somebody had mate available this game? No. No one's even had a threat. This game, for example, I think he should agree to a draw quickly and move on. If I understand arenas at all. I don't have much experience with them. Nor should I really tell him what he should or shouldn't do. Yeah, maybe some of them are playing like very aggressive openings to just get more games in. You know, win or lose, just get a bunch of games played. Wow, now this Iranian kid, who's also the Iranian champion, Bardia Daneshvar, up here is number 6 out of all these players. That's phenomenal. Great defensive move by Prague. I just can't imagine how Gukesh could ever win this. Chris beat the secret superstar. Where is he now? Oh, he's playing against Vladislav Artemiev. That's a terrifying opponent if ever there was one. And Chris has somehow sacked or lost his H-pawn, which looks semi on purpose in a position like this, like with the rook on the H-file. To me, this position looks really good for black. For white. Maybe I'm missing something. But it looks really good for Artemiev. And bad for the good guys. For Vladislav, baby, don't hurt me. Yeah. There's this join button that keeps beckoning me. But I'm not allowed to. We already sent Kostya in to play. I'm supposed to watch. I think Vladislav is going to hurt us this game. There are a couple cash prizes past pawn, therefore first, second, third, fourth. Oh, this is great. Shanky got paired against Yapi, one of the people with a lot of points. I think it's good for us to have Shanky paired against some of the people with the most points because he can break their streaks and then they'll get less points per game. And playing super fast against Sam won't be so useful. He'll just outplay them. So they'll have to play real chess with him. Or lose quickly and keep going, I guess, is their other option. How's Chris doing? Oh, his B pawn is looking hell of dead. Wow, what technique? He stayed in this game. Wow, he's fast. Oh my goodness. Chris Yu seems to be winning the game. With checkmate. Oh my god! Unbelievable, with 3 seconds down 2 pawns in the endgame. Chris Yu beats Vladislav, baby, don't hurt me. What? That is insane. Those are those crazy 3-second skills that are not taken into account in people's classical ratings. Here's Shanky, by the way, playing a classical game. Just working the C file. Just writing some textbook lessons. Yum. Jesus, there goes another pawn. He gets the D pawn and the C pawn at once. Okay, the counter attack on F2. You have to be careful for a moment, but there goes the pawn. Now does he want to take it? There would be rook B2 at the end. That seems like something he can cover. Instead, he threatens rook G6. Serious aggression right there. What's he going for? He's playing it very carefully, stopping rook B2 here again. Which rapid tourney, Cartier? Oh man, Yopi's got some activity. Sam tries to tie him back to the C pawn. Yopi says it's too late. I won't defend my C pawn. Prepares queen e4 check. Now he's going to double on the first rank. Sam's going to finally hit knight h5. Yeah, because now finally against knight h6, he has something. The second rook coming to c6. Nice. Nice, Sam. Oh, man. Slam, bam. Slapping him around. Slapping him around with the real chess. Boom! There goes your streak. There goes your streak. You may be able to score more points faster in one of these arenas. And look at that, Chris Yu, number 4 in the arena. He's got the skills to score well in this kind of arena. But Sam's got the skills to take out good players. Welcome to the dojo. Welcome to the dojo. Shall we welcome Magnus to the dojo now next? Yes, we shall. Would you like a seat in the dojo, Magnus? Magnus, hey buddy, Carlson. Yeah, Magnus is all about that blitz, 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 blitz. Do, 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 do. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So Magnus is looking for a kingside attack here, folks. You may see him play the whole board, but he's thinking about a queenside attack. He can throw in a move like rook b3 to send your queen to a7 if it's one step further away or one step more awkward. Oh, like a5, nice, because Here, queen b5, rook b3 would be awkward. But when he plays knight e1, you know he's looking at this stuff and uncorking. Sam opens a file on the queen side. And tries to pry open the c file a little bit better. Looking good. Looking good, Shanky Panky. Whoa, Magnus hanging a pawn? What? A shocker. A shocker from the champ. Oh, and Shanky with a dagger of a move. A4 supporting the rook. If rook A4, rook B1. Now he can play, you know, queen B4 or something, I think, if he wants to. Oh, no, then there'd be rook A4, rook D3. Okay. That may not have worked. It's hard to be sure. Yeah, rook's behind, past pawns. Just going to get blockaded at A3. This knight is passive. Also needs to get rid of back rank mate pretty ASAP. Does it. Magnus has a lever here at the right moment to cause some chaos. We can also hope to just defend this pawn for a while, maybe. Sam's preparing for the knight to join the fight. Ooh. Queen comes into some squares. The other queen says 2 can do that. Oh, that move hurts. That move stings. Goodbye advantage. Now it's about equal. We'll see if someone gets ground. A draw seems likely. Queen A5 restrains him for a moment, but he'll move the queen. All right, Magnus, do you have a lesson for us? Apparently, he has a lesson in mind. Shanky tries to get those knights off the board. The queen appears. Vicious. Oh, a tactic! And now Sam's stuck. Should he bring the queen to F5? Then there will be queen F8. Queen F8. This is his moment to play F5. He finds it! Of course. Tries to go on a checking rampage. The queen repositions and defends. Oh, man. The e-pawn might advance here. That would be rough. Queen d5 is playable as well. I think he's got to go for e6 if he wants to win. Queen e4, though? It's not clear that he can. Okay. Now king e7 is the one hope for Shanklin. No, queen e6 is okay, too. Yeah. Oh, man. Taking looks like a loss. It is. Oh, man. Amazing. Classic Magnus there. So at the end of this game, if Shanky brought his king, then trades king here. Takes, here. And if he plays the f4 pawn sack here, that's losing as well. Oh my goodness. Does anyone even know what he could have done here? Or was queen e5 just a winning move? What an endgame move. Queen e5. Rad dude, please take your negativity to another channel. Stop saying nasty, mean things about people. Okay? This is a single and final request. All right, man? We can afford to have some respect for other people. That was insane that this ending is winning for white. What a puzzle. Queen e5. Probably the one winning move there. All right, how are we doing over here? Attempted grinding by both players at once. Maybe c6 is the saving grace for white here. c6, pawn takes c6, and then take on c4. Wow, aggressive. Maneuvering the knight around to c5. And Gukesh consolidates an extra pawn. Probably play b6 to have more space for that bishop. Nope, totally wrong, David. Once again, considering knight b3. If you play a neutral move like b6 or king d6, white's going to play knight e3, and that c-pawn will be weak again. He could also play c3 right here. Might need to do that. That c-pawn is looking overexposed. Okay, plays b6. I guess he can wait a move and still play c3 here if he wants to. Wow, fancy. The knight was blocking the e-pawn and the king e3 move, so it was forcing that pawn would die. There. Counterplay from that knight. The a-pawn drops. And he doesn't take on c4. Now he's busted. Oh, he only had 9 seconds. Ooh, knight f6 is a lot of counterplay. Pushes past. Trying to force a queen. Who cares about bishop on e8? It's knight h7 that's the real danger. Bishop b5 to d3 looks good. Stops it. Nice move with 5 seconds on the clock. The king's going to have to advance. The h-pawn's coming. Oh, he's got him mated just in time. Gukesh. Wait, Stevyan's rated 200 points higher than Gukesh in Blitz? How is that possible? Did you see how good Gukesh is? Wow, the capybara is still just like running away with this event. And Magnus is still doing well, but look who's tied with him, Chris Yu. Goodness gracious. Let's check out another game of Chris Yu's. No, of Kostya's? Kostya, where are you? There's a game of Kostya's that's done, but where's an active game of Kostya's? There it is. Oh no, the same 3000 GM who beat him at the beginning of things. Exactly, Doof. In that endgame, when you go king e6, white plays king f4, defending the e5 pawn, and then it's your move. And that's Zugzwang. You know? Oh my goodness, look at that, folks. We're doing very well in the team standings, other than the capybaras. We've got a great score. We've got a great score here in this tournament. All right, Kostya. Show us some kind of weird Sicilian thing. That's a weird Sicilian thing. It's not a public event PVDL. You have to be on one of the pro chess league teams to play. I don't think she is, Renga. From the Croatia Bulldogs, who are now in third place, Marco, to the Unicorns, or they're the Chess Bras. These teams are all sort of one win away, because I think when people get on a streak, they can get 3 or 4 points for a win. So that's why you see some leapfrogging going on. I think, Max, that there are 4 cash prizes for the top 4 teams in the arena. But also, like, it's mainly supposed to be for fun or something. I don't think the cash prizes are super significant, just an extra little incentive or something to make it a little more exciting. Rad dude, I have no idea what you might be asking about. What happened to Jesse? Jesse is... he's going to be on a show with us, and as soon as the arena's done. Talked to him yesterday. I'll talk to him again in an hour. If you're asking me if I know what he had for breakfast this morning, no. We haven't checked in on that yet. I like what Kostya's doing here. Opens up the white king just a touch. He's pretty terrified to castle kingside himself, though. White's ready for that. So he leaves the a-pawn hanging, instead starts to try and create some threats. White's king is very circumspect. It keeps tucking itself away in corners and stuff. There's the classic Sicilian move, d5, breaking in the center. Bishop c3 is an odd one, though. So he's letting Kostya take on e4. I mean, he's just giving up the center completely and one of his bishops. One of the Bishovskis. Maybe Kostya could give up the bishop on g5 and then castle, and the doubled g-pawns would be a little bit hard for White to trade off. Jesse's been on stream, Brad dude. Not sure what the move queen b7 was. Oh, it was to play bishop takes a3. Shima knew what it was on about. Kostya was threatening bishop takes a3, pawn takes a3, queen b1. And now he makes the trade. Make that trade. Oof. That was not a good move, Kostya. That was not allowed against the bishop on c3 to let the queen onto that file. Diagonal, whatever it was. The checkmate on g7 thing. Look, a couple games come in for the Unicorns, and they pass the Yogis and the Bulldogs. Chess Bros are starting to get a little bit ahead, though. Doopy-doopy-doopy-doo. Yeah, this game is dead. Well, actually, now it's an endgame with opposite-colored bishops. It's still pretty dead, right? I mean, h5 is coming. Yeah. Looks brutal. Let's see what other games we got going. See if anybody on our team is playing against Magnus right now. Shanky just beat Alexander Bortnik, which is nice. And let's check in on Chris Yu, who with 26 points is currently number 3 in the individual standings. Well, number 3 seems wrong. It looks like number 4, but still amazing. And Magnus has passed the Capybaras, or caught up with the Capybaras. The boss is on an angry tear. And look at Fabi, not famous for his blitz play, but he's tearing it up here in 5th place in this event. Maybe we should go watch Fabi play blitz. You want to watch Chess Latte in a professional arena. That's the spirit. Me too. Oh my gosh, Chris is going for some kind of a breakthrough, which is intended to win a rook. You know, pawn takes f6, e7. Wow. Wowie. All right, where's the rest of the juice? Yes, rook fights for the e7 square. Oh my lord. I didn't see the move coming, but what a move it was when it came. Looks like black managed to defend it. Chris sends an angry knight black's way. Complicated. Complicated. Yeah, I can see it PDDL because I'm on the Unicorns team. As I said, it's like a private, specially made chess.com event, so you have to be on one of the teams to see it. Black is putting up a heck of a fight here against Chris, but you also see Chris pulling way ahead on the clock. That's another technique of the young guns, is to flag you eventually. Pressures the bishop, which defends the pawn. Tries to block the e-file, but drops a pawn anyway. So much pressure. Now the threat is knight e6 to try and win the knight on e5. The threat comes true. King f6. Braving the discovered checks, but Chris had one in reserve and takes the game, I think. Vicious, but unnecessary. What on earth was that, Chris? Now it's a good thing that he's way up on time. Knight f5 will take the rook. And there we go. Resignation comes in. Chris Yu moves up into 3rd place ahead of Mkhitaryan. Of course, Mkhitaryan's in the middle of winning a game that will cause him to leapfrog as well. But wow. What a performance from Chris Yu today. What a performance from Chris Yu today. Should we watch him play another game? We will. Brad, dude, you can stop talking about the blunders. That's all you do is say nasty things about other people. Chris sacks the pawn on d6. Dropstone is David Paravian. David Paravian. That doesn't seem like the point of the pawn sack was to retreat the queen originally. I don't think that's what Chris was hoping to do. He's going to be kicked back on the defensive here. Have to retreat from the long diagonal just to get castled. And yeah, he's getting hurt this game. Very, very hurted. Queen gets checkmated. That's going to be a pawn-up endgame for David Paravian, and a very good pawn-up endgame. This game looks like death, but we saw the magic Chris did against Vladislav, so maybe let's watch a few more moves and see if we can pick something up. Like, how does one not lose such a position? What are the secrets to staying in it? Will he push c5 now or not? Yeah, he will. Okay. If I were white, my plan would be g3, f4, etc., taking control of the dark squares. Bishop b7, hitting the e-pawn, and white puts pawns on light squares. I would think Chris might play something like h5, but yeah. But instead, he pokes the beast. What? He pokes the beast. Outrageous. And he's also giving up rook d8 as a thing to watch out for. With bishop f4. Wow. I thought he would go h5, h4, you know, try and stake out some space on the king side with the pawn to make it harder for the white pawns to stay nimble on the king side. I see he's down half a minute here rather than up on time, so he's unhappy. Knight d7 is threatened. Big threat. White plays it even if it means opposite colored bishops. And now that a pawn is looking bad. Chris has to get rid of back rank mate and drops the a pawn, or would rook a8 to a3 be a trade? White's not 100% sure. Chris just leaves the a pawn hanging, and now he expands with h5, h4. As I had expected long before. Now he's playing his moves very fast, so he seems to know what he wants to do from here. So now I'd expect his king to move up a little bit, but king g7, there's always bishop e6, so his king is sort of trapped. Huh. Not much room to do much here. And we saw him stop, hesitate, and think. Stop, drop, hesitate, think. Maybe rook b6 to defend the e-pawn and be able to advance the king off the back rank. All right, he forces white to play a4, and white refuses. I thought white wanted to play a4. His bishop can go to b4 to e1 if he wants to defend that pawn. White tries to crack his king position. Ooh, f5 did hurt. I will admit that f5 did hurt. Get away from your own e-pawn. Normally it's get away from my pawns. Now it's get away from your own pawns. What a defense! And with one little detail, Chris saves the game. Wow, he doesn't even go bishop b2. He defends his pawn first. Unbelievable. And technically, he has not yet lost this game. I mean, he's certainly still worse with that weird king position, but he has not lost the game. A rook trade would surely be enough to save him, and that rook can't get away. Chris Yu has drawn the game, I think, basically. His king will still be terribly placed in the endgame, but I just don't see what white would ever attack to win this endgame. That's it. Back and forth. Good job, Chris. Oof, maybe the wrong one. Yikes. Wait. Oh, king takes bishop, queens, queen d5 check. Oh, painful. Painful. And he had saved that. I mean, we still learned a lot from it because he had saved that game. It was incredible. He just needed to keep the c-pawn defended with his bishop, not the a-pawn, right? That was a weird mistake because that allowed white a passed pawn. Also, maybe earlier play h1 queen, bishop takes h1 king g6, so his king can follow over to the queen side. He definitely had made it into the drawing zone. That's shocking. This opening looks pretty bad for him. Let me see what his opening was. I was still thinking about the endgame. D5 is a big deal. I think black might need to play D5 themselves right here. But Chris says whatever, allows it. Bishop F4 threatening D6. Okay, makes the trade. White gets a little space. And to me, it looks very pleasant for white. But I'm not good at assessing exactly the size of the advantage. Wait, there's a million messages over here on Discord. Yeah, white always has B4 for that knight. Oof, sinks the other one. Queen finds just enough space to scrape by. Barely alive, but there is the idea of playing knight takes D5 for black and then capturing on C6. Rook C1 stops that idea because of bishop H7. If you go rook C1, then black doesn't have knight D5. Oh, but black has rook E1 check if you use rook C1. Okay, so he prepares knight D5, bishop D5 to support the knight. Good move from Lanier. Chris is down a little bit on time, makes a move, changes the pawn structure. Bishop on F8's getting out. White needs something really concrete or black will be fine in this resulting position. Yeah, this looks just livable to me. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, the bishop B7 is kind of stuck. You can almost never trade for the knight because in the opposite color bishop position, you just get punished at F7 and so forth. Yeah, maybe it's still bad. Maybe the moment I think black's okay, that means black's bad. And when I think that black's bad, black was actually okay. Who knows? Here comes more pressure. All right. Now white's got two passed pawns. And Chris is still afraid to play bishop takes c6 and queen takes c6. Because something horrible is going to happen on f7 if he does. Is white trying to come up with some kind of weird knight e7 threat? Knight e7, rook e7, queen d7? Yeah. So finally, Chris does this and into d2. Yep, as expected. Going after white's back rank for a moment. Rook g1 looks fine, though. Then he's going to go queen f2 headed to h4. So Lanier tries rook f1 instead. f7 is hit, so the bishop is stuck. It can't move off. Now there's a back rank mate against Chris on d8. We might see queen d5 or queen a6, something like that. c7! Queen e8, sacking the queen to the bishop to eliminate the c-pawn. Good lord. Folks, you got to admit that was unreal. Oh, I don't think the king can get back, but he's going to try. And it does get back. I don't know if he knew it would get back or if he just knew he had to try. Yes, king g8. g5 sacking the pawn. This is like... That's... I think we all know that we would have lost with white or with black in those complications. C7. And he plays a perfect endgame in 3 seconds that, you know, we would want 10 or 20 minutes to play. Unbelievable, the level of these players. And to think that there's like 30, 40 people in the world who can play like that under that kind of time pressure, not just 1 or 2. I mean, Chris is playing this godly, and he's number 8 right now, right? Grishuk has now passed him. What an event. There's Gukesh right behind Chris at number 11. Sam's moved a few too many pawns for my taste over on the king side. Oh, who's he playing now? Big Fish. Fedoseev, yeah. And Kostya's playing Dubov. Kostya's playing Dubov. How are you doing, Kostya? Dubov sacked an exchange against you. Good luck. He's almost worked some kind of disturbing mating net on you, too. I guess bishop c4 and bishop f7 is already good enough for white. Even if they don't trap the knight on h1. Ah, Dubov. You're so good. You are so good. Kostya takes the king off the f-file because if you play a move like king f6, white can go rook d1, knight f2, rook f1. So the king just can't be on the f-file here. If you lose the knight, you're down way too many things, right? So Dubov marches the king to g1. Looks like we lost here. But at least we got to play a game against Dubov, right, Kostya? That had to be exciting. Maybe you could trick Dubov into playing e7 here while the king is in check. Nope, not happening. Yeah. The e-pawn comes marching. Oh, back rank mate. One last trick. No. It's not to be. Too much Dubov. H4. Look at this finessery. H4, H5, then A6 trying to play B5, A4 preventing it, A5 taking these 2 squares. Now basically it'll never be good for Akobian to play D5 against E5. He'll just have to sit and hold that center. Actually, it'll just be, yeah, Kostya should be pretty good here, I think. Just off of this. Yeah, I think this will be good. How did Chris win against Big Fish? I don't know. They're still playing. So, I need to stop reading your messages. They make no sense. Wow, Akobian has to give up the dark squared bishop. Kostya's looking great here. Looking so good. I think so, Seth. That does ring a bell. Oh, that bishop on h6 is angry. Oh my god, Kostya's whole army is angry. Wait, don't trade that bishop. It's defended by a knight. Don't trade it. I was hoping in this position here that Kostya could just play something like b5, you know, just randomly tee off, but it wasn't actually good. Wait, he has bishop f4 here? Holy... Oh! Kostya wants to play e4 and knight d3. Var tries to shut down the angry bishop. Hint, the bishop is too angry. It will never stop being angry. The knight went all the way to d3 just to come back and defend a weakness on e6? What? That knight is insufficiently angry. And Var very wisely rearranging the king to a more blocked area, rotating the rooks to the other side, switching the king and the rooks. Very well played by Var here. Looks like he's fine. Kostya's got no dynamism here, no juice. He needs something like bishop h6 takes f4 and queen takes h4 to open up that king. But he's stuck kind of sitting around. He does have an extra minute on the clock if this becomes a move back and forth in a locked position that no one can make progress in. Oh, he's looking at bishop f4, queen h4 now. Kostya spotted it. Var did too. Yeah, he's just going to take it anyway. And then push the f-pawn. It's reasonable. It's reasonable. Var returns a little bit of material. I think Kostya should probably trade and go rook f8. But that's just a random instinct. Okay, no. Tries knight c5. Take on e3 with check, please. Yep. Please and thank you. Threatening queen d4. That's a good move. Queen e3. Kostya goes into a deep think. Comes up with a plan to give a bunch of checks. And wins on time. All right, bravo, Kostya. You scored another point. Or a couple points in arena scoring. But, I mean, wins a game with black. King's Indian coming through. Let's check out the club standings for a second. 6th place. These teams have pulled away from us a little bit, 10 points ahead, but still a fantastic performance. I mean, yeah, 6th place among all these teams is a shocking place to be at right now. So hopefully they're all having fun, especially Kostya. Exactly, Seth. No, Seth. Some teams have a lot more players. You can have up to 10 players per team. So some teams have a ton of players playing, and some not so many. But it only counts your top 4 scores. So I think Brazil's dominance has been closed, the gap, quite a bit, right? Because when I look at the individual standings, it's not just the capybaras in number 1 and number 2, although they're still pretty high. But it's a little bit more competitive. We've got 2 chess pros at the very top now. Magnus and Van Voorhees just trying to tear through this thing. What other chess pros are playing today? Who else is on their team today? Razvan Preotu, yeah. And KNVB Aman Hamilton himself. Nice. Dubov just got started really late. He's only played 4 games. Because players can come and go. You know, they don't have to play the whole event. They're supposed to play some amount of games that they find fun or something like that. Kostya dodges out of pawn takes bishop because the queen's attacked and makes room to hide the bishop here. Benoni position looks pretty decent for white, as usual, as traditional in the Benoni. Can the knight come back out to f3 yet? It does. Knight g3 is a big threat, though. What are we going to do about it? Oh, the queen covers that too? Very nice. Very nice for Kostya. And if black went for knight g3, queen d4 with tricks, you know, Kostya can probably play e5 and then sack either the bishop or knight on g6 with a crushing attack. I say e5 because notice that if you go for this right away, black has defensive move queen g7 with or without taking, right? And so, yeah, I mean, you could play something like this for white. It's just not 100% clear. So I think right here, you would now play e5, losing this piece. And there's no move black could play that defends g6 enough to stop a sack next move with a really, really strong attack. Especially since if you ever take, you're letting this rook out on the f-file as well. So I think that was a really sick idea. Let's see what's happening now. Kostya gave up the h-pawn and got the big pawn break. Hammering home the e-pawn. Takes on g6. Gets checked. It's a super messy position. Kostya's now down a pawn, I think. It's utterly wild. Utterly wild. Oh yeah, needed to defend g3 better. But now the black knight from h7 leaps into the actual game. And with g3 under fire and e6 now well defended, all the black pieces come to the king side. Kostya's in trouble here. An endgame might not be such a bad option for him. No, he manages to keep the ball in the air. Queen e5, hitting that knight, thus defending the king a little bit. Got to keep g3 covered. Finds a weird spot to do so. Kicks that queen. Oh, queen. Oh, a rampage. A rampage. A rampage. That's what that e5 move was about. That was sick. Wow, that was sick. Gukesh and Chris have each played 13 games. And players at the top have played 14, 15, 16. So they've... And then Yasmin's played 20. So he's got some kind of special technique, Yapi as well, to play a ton of games. Like, you look, Yapi's got 13 out of 20. It's not like a tremendously high percentage, right? But if you've played 20 games and you've scored 13 points, somebody who's played 13 games isn't going to be able to score more points than you. That stands out. Yapi has something down. Yapi and Yasman playing just the most games by far. Magnus and Prague going for high percentages here. 14 out of 15, 13 out of 14. Holy moly. I wonder if they've played each other yet. Oh, Kostya's playing one of the best people in the whole tournament, Mickey Tarian. That's hike. Finding some counterplay on the king side with the H pawn. While Kostya takes the B file. Oh my god, here comes the tactic. First you loosen G3, then you can sack on E3. Unfortunately, we have to call this move and this whole play here textbook. Textbook. Oof. Maybe Queen F5 here? Yeah, it doesn't do much. Everything's hanging for white. Ah! Yeah, he tries Queen F5. The best move will be Rook G3, which gets played. Now, sack over there. And then knight e4. But black will be okay. There's either bishop e3 or rook g4. Both are acceptable. Good try by Kostya. Maybe d5 now, but it's not quite good enough. Black's tactics were sound. And Dripman calls rest in peace for our friend Kostya, who's out here in the middle of a storm of 2,700 players. Let's check out someone else. Sam Shanklin against Lei Kwang Liam. Liam looking for an early checkmate. Good lord. Oh, against pawn takes knight, there's queen d8. So it's not even a sack, it's just playing from a g4. Could be played, but knight g5 is more specific. And there's a knockout that goes against us. Let's just see how that goes so we can use that trick ourselves. Oh, where did my game go? Here it is. Let's just learn this trick, folks. It's the Pierce without d6. Oops. Well, I don't think this is going to come up much. I think the answer is black should play d6 in the Pierce. And h4, h5 looks clearly good here. Maybe a defensive try would be h6, so that if h5 you go g5, but basically we shouldn't play this position as black, and as white if somebody puts the knight d8, you know, h4, h5 is good, but there's a lot of other things white could also do that are probably also good here. So, yeah. Not the right game for us there. Click back to Kostya's game. Looks pretty interesting. That pawn on e3 looks pretty strong to me. Maybe bishop d2 to make room for rook c2. Yeah, white's going to look for counterplay on the king's side. I would throw an h6 and king g7 just so when white advances, I'm more prepared to trade off some of those things. Kostya looks to squeeze the queen side. Maybe king g7 now. Into the second we go. Oh, bishop b4 was strong there, no? Okay, maybe what Kostya did is really strong too. We'll see. Yeah, that's why you have to play h6 before white's g-pawn comes. Ooh, now it's so risky. Rook f1 looks pretty good. Take whatever space you can with those pawns. That g6 pawn from white is super dangerous. Super dangerous. Lots of things that can go wrong. Rook f1 to f2 looks like a plan. That king keeps going. He wants to go to d2. Okay. Oh, white's got pawn takes pawn, bishop d5, rook g8, mate. Doesn't play it. But there's basically no defending that checkmate, is there? That's the best try. Good job, Kostya. Okay. So rook f6, e2 might be messy. White decides to keep their own rook honest. Does Kostya have time for rook a2? I don't know. Rook f1. Will it be a perpetual? I guess so. Threifen's made in one here. And Kostya draws with a very strong grandmaster. Nice. 6 seconds against 7 seconds. Madness. Some fast mouse action. And Chris is faster. 0.4 seconds after hanging his rook. Yeah. That's not my speed. Ooh, Ituruzaga is a fantastic opponent. That's an exciting matchup. Looks very playable for black. C4, a nice move. I think Max probably, I mean, I'm sort of guessing. Oh, can black just take on b3 now? Ituruzaga thinks so. I guess amazingly, white could even go queen b2 here. And then bishop c7. And then it's a very unclear endgame, actually. But okay, he lets the rooks double, so he's going to give up the bishop at some point here. Ooh, I don't think he wanted his queen trapped. Queen f4, bishop e5. What a shot from Ituruzaga! Wow, dizzying. What a concept. Yeah, I think, Max, they're thinking to sort of make it not possible to get trapped in a game. Bravo to Eduardo. That was sick. That was sick, what he did to us there. How are the standings looking? We're down to 7th place. Still reasonable. Still reasonable. Yeah, I know. I know, Max. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. It's the new professional. It's the new version of professional. Yeah, Seth. So that move where black sort of sacks the queen, what it really is a knight sack, right? It's, yeah, you're getting 2 rooks, but you know that you're dropping the knight on b6, but you see that the b pawn is strong enough to justify it, and that's why it's sort of a tricky thing to figure out. So it was a very nice play by black. And the concept trapping the queen was a pretty cool tactic. All right, Gukesh is fighting against black's strongest spot on d4. But it seems like it shouldn't be possible to fight your opponent's strongest spot, right? And black just completely ignores it, leaving c5. Okay, throwing in the trade. Got it. Now e4 is hanging. f5 is going to crack that f3 move. White's position is a little bit precarious. Gukesh tries to cling to the e4 pawn, and the position's really heating up tactically. Each player's knight construction is held together by a somewhat flimsy pawn. The bishop on e3 is being looked at, which is risky from White's perspective. So, situation is, well, as Jesse would describe it, it's hot. The position is hot. Threat to the e-pawn, maybe. Maybe. Number of things White can do, probably. I wouldn't know what they are, and I wouldn't be able to find them. I'm just saying there's probably, possible moves for the players in the position. All right, Gukesh swaps off some of the tension for a new positional reality. Now black's c5 pawn will be well anchored and white's e pawn will not. So that's like a slightly nice thing for black here. That king should get off the diagonal. White's threatening something. Gets rid of back rank mate, but the dark squares are super weak. Black can always reestablish back rank mates with the bishop or queen on e5. Black has dark square dominance here. Doesn't go for rook f8, but instead banks on the c-pawn. And Gukesh searches for some juice with knight f4. Looks like he got himself in big trouble here. Opens up the second rank, unfortunately, to hold the knight and avoid the pure queen trade. g5, knight h5, not yet a consideration for black. But that c3 pawn is super powerful, and if black ever needs a second weakness, it's the white king. So this game should be lost. Gukesh getting low on time, looking for something. Queen e6, perhaps the plan. Hitting a lot of things. It is the plan. And yeah, the game collapses. Yeah, the teams are competing for some prize money. I believe it's the top 4 teams that will get prize money. Oh, look, the Capybaras have retaken over. They've reasserted themselves. Some of the other teams had caught up, and now there's it's us. And Prague has taken over the tournament lead, and his yogis are in second place. Wow, Prague. And Chris Yu, by the way, still like up at the top of the event. Gukesh as well. Even though we've just seen Gukesh drop 1 or 2 games. Apparently there was a little bit of a gap between them and the rest of the field, so nobody caught up in that time. Uh-oh. Looks like this opening is getting Refutatsk. What happened here? Rook b1, queen b4. This is the moment where you just play king f1, right? I mean, this opening has failed. Instead, we give 2 pawns. Wait, only 1? What's wrong with this pawn? He didn't want queen d2, queen a3, rook b3, and the queen's stuck on a4, huh? I guess that's prudent. Rather be up a pawn with a safe position than up 2 pawns with your queen sort of stuck and trapped. So things can go wrong. Gukesh throws a little something Dubov's way. Dubov's like, normally I would have this position as white. Something funky. Not entirely easy to play Dubov's position here either, though, because, you know, if you develop the c8 bishop, there's rook b7. If you play f6, there's knight g6. Your knight on a6 is kind of stuck, not doing anything. Maybe the correct move is bishop f5, rook b7, rook b8. But even that, you have to calculate knight takes c6. Shoot. So that's not the right idea. Keeps the large knight on e5 and goes for the attack. Maybe h6 here. This is the moment to use some of those 2 minutes of time that you've saved up. Takes it. Wow. I don't even know what's coming next. I don't know what his plan is after f6. Shocking. I mean, clearly calculated that the other thing wasn't good. Oh, takes out all the dark squares with the bishop. So now we'll get queen f4. c3 falls, g4 falls. Madness. Madness. Queen g4, king h8, king f1 maybe? If bishop f8, something horrific with the discovery check. King f1, rook g8 though. Can he still castle here? Rook g8 though. I think legally he may still be allowed to castle. Maybe he should have castled on this move right here. Right? It would have been a real surprise move. There is this check on a6 for black. That's a big resource. But like rook g8, queen f4, queen a6, king e1, because then the queen's not on a5. Maybe not a big deal. Queen a2, rook b3. What? Bishop f8 threatens mate. What is he doing? Oh, he's got queen f2 mate. Rook c1 he can't take because of f2. Oh, saves the rook from b3. What a shock. No, there's a knight there. Oh, he knew. He knew. He's just going for the flag or whatever. And it's going to be a draw, I guess. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, Magnus passes Prague along with with Von Foreest. Wow. Von Foreest with 6 more games than Maggie. No one's quite caught Gukesh and Chris just yet, but they're getting close. Here's Shield and Bardia. Wow. And I would be so tired by now. If I'd been playing for an hour and a half, it's like everything's out the window. People are probably playing F3, King F2 because they're pissed, or, you know, G3, B3, Bishop G2, Bishop B2 to not have to think, trying to save mental load. It's a brutal, brutal format. It's 2.5 hours, Pikes Knightsy, of 3+0 blitz. So I'm feeling the fatigue just watching a bit. So I imagine the players are feeling some fatigue. Gukesh goes for the light squares. Wants something like Bishop B7, Queen B7. White should try and hold on and not give him that. Maybe Knight F3 check is pretty good here, though. Goes for this move. Okay, this one's harder to calculate. Oh, it's because pawn takes E5, plugs the E file, and then Bishop F3. It's only helpful. Yeah, okay, this move is good. So White's other option is King G2, Queen B7, D5. Yeah, it's an option. Oh, but you don't own the D5 square. Black can take it. That's not quite good enough, is it? How would Philidor do in this arena? I mean, depends how much time he has to study up on things before he goes into it. C4 here for black is what I like. Wrong! Every move wrong. Gukesh definitely has his eyes on White's king. Very, very aggressive play in his last couple games. Very, very aggressive. And very, very fast, right? Like he's playing super, super fast. When you know you want to play the aggressive move and you don't, then you don't have to waste energy deciding whether or not you're going for it or checking how good or bad of a move it is, right? You just say, I'm playing every move that moves closer to the opponent's king or that sacks something or that opens a file. All of those moves, I'm playing them. No consideration. Just doing it. That frees you up to play really, really fast. Preparing to play FG, and the rook will stop the queen F1 defense. The reason you couldn't checkmate here with FG, queen H3, one of the main reasons is queen F1. So the bishop backs up, threatening that. Queen E2 before the pawns can trade. Now against queen H3, there's queen F1. Same against F3. Oh my god, Gukesh sacks the queen. He does the move he wanted to play anyway. Queen H5. Pawn takes F2. King there. Bishop G2. Has he calculated King E2? I don't know. I guess he had. Jesus. I'm awestruck, dumbfounded by what just happened there. Yeah, instead of even taking the e-pawn, he should have just gone straight for the h-pawn. That was quite a combination for a blitz game. Wasn't it? The queen sack into bishop g2, bishop f3. Bonkers. Bonkers. Let's check out Chris Yu against Mamedyarov. Ooh, it looks terrible for Chris. It looks terrible for Chris. I've probably said it before at some point. So basically what Chris is doing is sit around in a lost position, getting ragged on, and then eventually flag this guy somehow with some little surprise trick. A6, rook b6, a7 threatened right now. Black's position is fantastic, except nobody can stop the a-pawn from queening. Other than that, it's beautiful. I guess he's going to try and give checkmate with like f3, rook g2, but Chris will have bishop takes e3, breaking up. Break it up! Break it up! So he plays d4 to try and keep the bishop from taking on e3. So now he wants to play a7, f3, a8, queen, rook g2, king h1, and then come up with a miracle. And Chris Yu strikes again. Isn't that insane? Isn't that insane how the youngsters beat on the super GMs? Here, changing up the guards is very good technique, folks, in general. To give a check with your queen and then put your king as the blockader instead of the queen. Because the queen's much better at everything else than the king. So, I mean, this endgame, it's so winning that, you know, queen takes e2 is probably winning and whatever. But this is a very good technique, and Chris uses it here. And as soon as he does, Black resigns because he knows that's clean technique. All right, let's see Shanky against Sarana. Oh, no, the second rank gets opened again. Why did that have to happen here? What was going on? I don't know. No, I don't like that. I do like these passed pawns. Uh-oh, I don't like that rook e2 threat. Which is why I didn't like the second rank opening up. Ah! Shoot. Rook d8 is maybe a move. Shanky finds. Now the question is, can he go rook cc8? It doesn't really do much. This position is risky. He goes for it. Yeah, it might allow him to trade all the rooks off, which would be drawish. So yeah, that was worth trying. Queen. It's just a draw. There's no winning this. If rook takes d5, there was rook a2. I was wondering if there's some deflection. Thanks, Max. So if rook d5, I'd seen that covered rook d3, but the real one is rook a2. That's the real deal. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. They're still going. They should have maybe just agreed to a draw by the logic of the arena once they got to this queen endgame. But I guess one or both of them are just playing normal chess rather than maximizing the arena, which, yeah, that's fine. I support that. But I think it's definitely a draw. Yikes. I think trading queens should win for black on g4. Oh, that's a good move. He's got a draw here. Bravo, Sam. Yeah. So they spent 2 minutes on that endgame that was always very, very likely to be a draw, I imagine, right? How are the club standings doing? I don't see any unicorns in the top 7. Unicorns still hanging there in the top 8, just barely. But these teams are now 10 points ahead of us. Whoa! What's that move? And Sam just gives it back without even a breath of a thought. Just straight into blocking the e file. I mean, yeah, that seems like a simply fine position for black. I understand. That's one extra pawn for white now. Rook g8 looks good. Threatening bishop g4 and rook g2. Oh, that move stops both! Sweet. Sweet move. h3, rook h7, hg, rook g7. No. Plays it another way. Going for the pure rook endgame. White's looking at rook f2 and rook f1. Damn. Top 7 is not important for any reason. Pikes. I was just seeing what the standings were. King c5, there's rook c7, pushing the king off and then collecting. Huh? I thought he would play rook from f2 to f6 there. I guess Sam would have just defended with rook g6 anyway, same as here. There's a threat of rook d2 Sam has to be careful about. Rook g4, no, rook b4. Okay. Pushes the king back one step. I think he's going to go for rook g2. Trade rooks and push the e pawn. I don't believe it though. Sam doesn't either. Keeps more pieces on the board. And then goes for the e pawn. King e5. Huh? Sam wanted to play d5. What's that? That's weird. Doesn't. What on earth was that finesse? This is hopeless. Hopeless. Close that one. Huh. Scotch. I've seldom seen black. I've never seen black just trade on d4 purposely. Like that. Interesting. Thanks, Biddlesworth, for supporting the unicorns. Thank you very much. Hitting the knight on d2. Whoa. Surprise / weird defense of the knight on d2. And Mamedyarov approved. He said, sure. That is a reasonable way to defend your knight on d2. Wow. This all goes so far over my head. Preparing knight g4. Queen d1 so that on knight g4 he would have h3. Oh my goodness. Back to the A file. We're in an equal-ish endgame here. I don't even know which side I would prefer. Like, I feel like I would prefer black, but if I played black, something bad would happen to me. I don't like white's g2 bishop. I feel like black's, you know, solid with all the pawns on dark squares. All right, tries to fight out, tries to get a little more space, does Azeri chess. Bishop probably wants to come to c4 and just end its own life. Looking for tactics on the file. But who's going to get tacticked on the file? Could be either player. Hard to know. If the knight moves, Sam's probably playing knight c4. Maybe king f8 is a good idea. That trade should be fine. And then maybe king f8 reduces tactics. Sam gets the move he wanted, knight c4. And knight b6. Knight d5 looks good. All right, white's up a tiny little precious pawn. Gf5, knight d6, I guess, did not make Sam happy. This endgame feels very dangerous for black. Oh, if h5, white would have king c4, by the way. Just a little tiny tactical point. You know, h5, trying to trade a pawn or get a passer going. King c4, kicking the rook from defending it. This position, I feel like it's winning for white. The rook's very well placed defending the pawn so the king can come forward. And the frontal defense shouldn't work at all. Oh, he traps the king in a box, so he doesn't have to deal with king e5 trying to get to f4. And now he just comes in front of his own pawn. b6 is more precise, I think, but okay. Maybe it doesn't matter. Oh, that's quite an idea. Sam's got a minute on the clock. Cannot trade rooks here. Oh, man. And black draws it? I am shocked. Shocked. Shocked and rocked by the draw. Threatening rook c5 to b5. Can't allow that. Gotta take it. Yep. Shoulder the white king. And he's got it. Amazing. Amazing. That had to be winning. That had to be winning. But that maneuver of bringing the rook to f4, what a shot. What a shot. Wow. Bravo to Mamedyarov on finding that. Oh, another endgame. Let's enjoy. Let's see. Equal pawns. Kostya trades one. He's got to come back and defend d7. And then bishop d7 here. If king g5, bishop e6. No! Oh! Dang it. That was unfortunate. I mean, maybe he didn't have a win if he played bishop d7 here. But it feels like he's got pretty decent chances, right, to win this pawn, and then it'd be tough for white. But okay, you know, draw against the grandmaster. Good work. Let's close some of the games that are done. Check the standings. We're still in 7th place as before. Bortnick has now surged past Yoppie, and Carlson has come down, and Danya's come up. Wow, it just goes all kinds of ways, this thing. I guess I don't know how many bonus points there are when someone's on a streak. I don't know if it's 4 or 5 points instead of 3. But it seems like sometimes the standings really leap around. There are Yospam and Mkhitaryan, right, who started out in first place. First and second place at one point, 2 teammates. Their team is still in first place as well. Amazing. Gotham Knights doing well. I haven't seen Naka play yet today. They've got Shamsid and Vokadov here. And they've got Big Fish, obviously. Fedoseev has played a couple of our guys. I have not seen Naka play. He's got, you know, the big tournament in St. Louis in an hour. Sometimes he plays events in the middle of more important events, but I guess not today. Today he's focused on the American Cup. But for their team to be in second place without him is insane, right? Now they're in first place without Naka. That's really a shocking result. To be in first place without Nakamura. Like, how good is the team that can be in first place without Naka? That's just pure shock. Pure shock. Kostya prepares knight e6, bishop e6, rook takes f2. No, there's rook e8, Kostya. Oh. Does not work. It worketh not. Dang. Yeah, there will be American Cup commentary today as well by XNXZ. Some of you may have noticed that there wasn't yesterday. It's because my car broke down and I got stuck and couldn't get to my computer or anything. Yeah. Some water. Oh, Kostya's playing against Bacrot's son, Alexandre Bacrot. Hey, Joel, welcome. It's the last Pro Chess League event of the year for the Unicorns. Just a blitz madness. Just a big heap of blitz madness. Ah, just finished a classical game. Nice. Okay, you just got to trade off that bishop. Plunk the knight. Maybe knight e4 was a move too, actually. Trying to trade off that bishop? I don't know. Even if you trade off that bishop, the pressure on e3 is pretty intense. Okay. Knight d5. Maybe Kostya is going to try b4. Black, it feels like black's going to have compensation for the pawn they're down. Like they're going to crack the e3 square before Kostya can castle. But we'll see if that's true or not. 7 for 8. Good job, Joel. Nice work. Nice work. Folks, the American Cup is in the final stage today and tomorrow. It's the final match. It's Irina versus Alice Part 2 and Hikaru versus Wesley Part 2. So, now, does F4 win here? Woo, Kostya tries just taking it. No, my lord, Kostya, that is some risky business. Baki Jr. hits him with e2 with the idea of bishop g4 after rook f1. Oh, but there will be knight e3 for Kostya. Threatening queen f1. The king can run, right? The king can run. Knight e3 also would have been acceptable there, I guess. Oh my gosh, Kostya is playing some confident moves here. Hits him with the f4. Hits him with the f4. Wow. Lightning strikes in all directions. Rook f2, rook e8, king d3, bishop f5. Dang, I thought Kostya was doing a great job navigating the minefield. I really did. I thought he was doing great. But I guess he played a little bit too fast. It's like you've got 2 minutes on the clock. I know you feel like you've escaped and you're putting the pressure on and all that, but just played a little too fast there, I guess. It got in. It was so intense. It was so intense. All right, playing the horse or whatever. Wow. Kostya scoring a quick point with that draw in the opening. Now he's got Danya. What does chess.com call the horse? Gosh, I don't know. It might have been there in the game info or something, but I didn't see it. Danya's in 3rd place. So he's on a hot streak here. What does fire 8 mean? 8 in a row, maybe. is a lot of games in a row. 8 wins in a row. We saw Big Fish beat 2 or 3 of us. How many points? Does anybody know how many points you get when you're on a streak? He scored 20 points and has... he scored 20 game points and has 63 points. So it seems like you can get more than 3 points per game. Is maybe possible. Kostya plays a violent move in the center. Threatens pawn takes knight and queen e5. Queen e5 would really go a long way towards defending his king in perpetuity. g4. Oh my god, he sacks the g6 square? Are you sure, Kostya? That was beyond bold. Now Danya hides behind a traitor pawn, and his bishop would be great on d3. Oh my gosh. That seemed like a big mistake. Like, Kostya had to play bishop takes g4 here, I think. Maybe there was something wrong with it that he saw and he wanted to avoid it for that reason, but this looks like it's fallen apart. The Adams classical match? No, what match, pass pawn? I see American Cup. I see Austrian Bundesliga. I don't know about an Adams match. Volokitin versus Adams. No, I didn't know anything about it. Oh god, just our luck. Another one of us gets paired against Danya. Ouch. Chris plays this as white as well. So he should know sort of what's going on, but now he's hesitating, so I guess not everything. I'm seeing an insane tactic that pawn takes, rook a1. Maybe you could just do this as white. Okay, let's refresh the board and just see what they actually do. Okay, he didn't try pawn takes c7. Wait, he sacked the b6 pawn? Far out. Danya, 10 seconds on the entire game. It's a UK versus Ukraine solidarity match. Okay, cool. Joel, our team is the Unicorns. See the little unicorn in the middle of my screen over there? That's our team, the California Unicorns. Oof, Kostya did not want to have to do that, but h7 needed defense and he had to pick away. Ideally, Kostya never wants to weaken his dark squares here against this bishop, right? He'd like to have f6, but no. Oh, sorry. It's Chris playing for our team now. Kostya was last game. Now it's Chris. I may have said Kostya by accident there once, but it's Chris who doesn't want to weaken his dark squares, but has been forced to do so anyway. Is the rainbow for gay pride? No. I mean, we're not against gay pride, but it's not for gay pride either. It's just for, you know, little kids that like rainbows and stuff. It's a good move from Chris. Knight c4. The king side can sort of never be opened. G6, you have h6. H6, you have g6. So we can expect that side to sort of stay closed for the moment. The game's most likely to eventually open on the A file, honestly, or with an e4 pawn break. That's the lever that Danya's kept in the position to explode things if he wants to. Oh, sorry. Adults can like rainbows as well. Sorry. Sorry, Renga and Charlie. I like rainbows. My partner likes rainbows. It's a unicorn with rainbows for people who like unicorns and rainbows. Exactly. Your daughter loves unicorns. I will say I expected that, more, little girls might like unicorns than other people, and I did want to encourage more girls to be fans of chess teams. So there was that element to it, Joel. But there's nothing that says that we can't have a bunch of old dudes in chat who like unicorns as well. Nice. Tell her that there's a unicorns chess team. Whew. Unfortunately, I was right about the A file, and the A file went to our opponent. Chris brings the knight to try and keep the rook out at least, but the damage is already largely done with that queen on b7. She can just eat everything from behind, and once you have no structure, then your opponent can enter the position from anywhere. Oh yeah, I guess you couldn't wear a California Unicorns jersey in the UAE, could you, Charlie? Yeah, this does feel cramped, huh? These people cramping us over here. Excuse me, sir. Are these people cramping you? Could I ask you to move out of the 7th rank, please? No. We're just going to have to resign that one. Boom. Oof. Ouch. Smack. Yeah, rainbows are banned because they could have something to do with gay rights. Even if this has nothing to do with gay rights, it's just a rainbow. Bishop c1. Wow. Bishop c1. I'm impressed how everybody seems to know what they're doing. Do you see how confidently Black played the opening? Knight a6, knight b4. They knew exactly what they wanted to do with the game. I don't have that confidence in the same diversity of positions that these people are playing. It's really impressive. What do they do when there's an actual rainbow? There's a law that you can't look at the sky when there's a rainbow. You have to keep your head down. Anybody caught tilting their head back more than 5 degrees get some kind of punishment. I don't know what, but some punishment. B2 looks loose. That is correct. You would need water and sun in the air to get a rainbow. So generally it would have to be rain. They do make it rain. Is that with human rain artificially? Wow, awesome. Exciting. Exciting. Kostya's knight deep, rook deep. The position is wild. Kostya prepares knight e5. Black seems to allow it. Now he's got to calculate how good it actually is. There's also knight e5, knight e6 to calculate. Oh, that's a lot to calculate. Kostya just brings another rook. Nice. No fear. Just bravery. Nothing but bravery. And there's knight e5. Leaving everything hanging on the table. And queen e6 should be good enough. Yeah, Kostya, good. You're in this one. Oh, hit him with the thing. Hit him with the thing, Kostya. Kostya! Yes! Oh, man, Kostya. Don't start another game. Just enjoy this position for a moment, my friend. That was a beautiful everything. Exactly. We've got a double rainbow all the way across the sky right here. Kostya's two knights just he sacks both rooks, gets both knights in, and they were getting jiggy, those two knights, right? Oh man. Oh man, oh man. Right back to the weird Trump thing. It worked, so he'll do it again. Knight C6. What are you doing, dude? Look how fast this guy is. This is the guy who's played one of the guys who's played 1,000,000 games. 38 games. 10 more than like Bortnik and Fedoseev. Wow. Absolutely, Joel. Get away from your computer. Enjoy the day. All right, we'll leave Kostya with that. That was a great final game for Kostya. There's time for only one or two more games today, so let's see. Let's see what game we can pick. This one's almost done. Maybe we'll pick something else. Okay, here could be a good one. Shanky against Mamedyarov. Oh, and they're playing some real theory, semi-Tarrasch line. White's big plan is to play d5, e takes d5, and then e5. And sack that pawn on d5 to block in the black pieces and then start a kingside attack. Who's winning the prizes right now? The Knights without Naka, amazingly. The Capybaras, who dominated this whole event. The Yogis, and then maybe the Levitov Wizards. I mean, I suppose the Archbishops could potentially pass them in 8 minutes if they've got a bunch of games still going and somebody's on a streak. But probably those would be the top four there. All right, let's see what's happening on this game, though. Let's just watch one more cool game. So Shanky's got the idea of rook d4, queen e5 to diffuse the attacks if he wants. But he doesn't yet feel the need. He goes to try and just win that d4 pawn. And there comes the juice, right? King f7, e5. You see, I said the main idea is this d5 takes e5, right? Even with the knight blocking it, Mamedyarov finds a way to execute that. Sam just keeps his knight and says, this is not sound here. Now Mamedyarov, he's got juice. He's got juice. But what can he make of it? Threatening bishop d5 check. Sam defends d5. Bishop g4 threat to win an exchange from the other side. Just keep things close. And rook b7 check threatened. Yeah, so that poor bishop has to move over there. And you can see... Oh no, bishop h5! Oh, I was going to say, you can see that white has something for the piece sack, right? It's complicated. It's messy. I guess queen e7 would have been a better move here. But we can see that white's got some juice, right? They've got the e-pawn. They've got the shaky king. They're winning back half of their material. They've got the rook coming. Ouch. Ouch. All right, we got time for one more game somewhere here. Let's close some of these so I can find the new games. So who still has a new game? Kostya's got a new game. But Kostya's last game was so good. I mean, he could hardly improve on it, could he? Let's check out the Blitz Demons. Let's check out the Blitz Demons. Bogo Indian Defense. It's just shocking how they know everything, right? Just no matter what comes up,
They're banging out instant moves. It's amazing. I mean, I spent my whole life playing chess. But it doesn't seem like something that I could ever figure out. How to always have a plan. Always know what's going on in the position. You get the feel that some of these people can probably play games in bullet chess that just look like normal games, right? Like at 1-0, but it just looks like everything's normal. Chris commits to the queenside space. I don't like Chris's position at all this game. I'm surprised to see black do that. That seems to really rely on getting a knight to d4. G3 makes sense now. I don't find white's majority very dangerous. Maybe knight b3 hanging the e4 pawn. No, let's not do that. So knight e6 to d4 is coming pretty soon for black. That I can understand now. I thought g3 maybe when the knight was on h5 would make sense. Chris is deep in thought. And look at Jospin. He's used 15 seconds on this game. We're 23 moves in. And he's got all his time still. And a knight on d4. And it's 0 seconds to switch to this decision. I mean, all these complicated decisions, everything instantaneous. You know, 20 seconds used on a 30-move game. He's not even thinking, do I trade on b6? Do I lock up the queenside? He knows everything. It's miraculous. It's miraculous. 2600 Cartier. 2600 FIDE in classical chess. Those knights are monstrous. 2 minutes. His moves are faster than the server can even understand. Like the server ticks down a second for him and then says, oh no, our bad. He never used a second. It is just mind-boggling. Oh! And he was ready for that too. Look at that. He was ready. He was expecting it the whole time. And that's how that guy gets 500 games in. He played that whole game against a 2600 GM in 20 seconds and won with black. I just can't fathom it. I just can't fathom it. And how are the capybaras doing? Is that enough to catch up with the knights? No, even that's not enough. The knights are somehow doing just as well. And with 2 minutes left, I guess the Wizards will hold on to 4th place. The Archbishops aren't going to score 10 points in 2 minutes, are they? I would say that game looked pretty good, Charlie. Like, he spent 20 seconds on it, and he probably played as well as I would with 2 hours. If not better. If not better. I mean, I don't even know. It's so fast I can't judge. But to me, it looked like just vaguely, generally glancing at it, it looked like classical chess to me that I would play. Chris is just completely winning instantaneously here. Why didn't black play rook f7? I don't know, actually. Yeah. All right, folks. So that winds up or wraps up the California Unicorns season this year. The league is so tough. We did not have a particularly successful season, right? We didn't make the playoffs, which was our goal. So yeah, it was a tough season for us, falling a little bit behind our goals. The league was really strong. All the other teams were really strong. Our team was just stacked with good players. You know, it was an honor to have these players on our team. I don't know what next season will bring. But that's kind of a wrap for 2023 for us. If you're interested in the Pro Chess League, they normally play at a 10-minute time control, not a 3-minute time control, and there will be playoffs going over the next in April and May, I think, with the top 8 teams. Fantastic teams, just the best players in the world, right? I mean, Magnus and Hikaru and Fabi, etc. So it's for those of you who are just interested in the competition, you can keep following the playoffs for myself and Kostya and other members of the California Unicorns. We're done here for this season, and we'll see about regrouping for next season. Yeah. It was, yeah, I mean, I'll just be honest, it was a tough season in many regards. We didn't get the overall result we wanted of getting to the playoffs. You know, individual matches, they're close, but it's like tough when you're watching it while rooting when it goes against you. You know, it's nicer from a very... I prefer watching the Pro Chess League matches of all the teams other than the Unicorns, because then I don't really care which team wins too much. Usually there are players I like on both teams, so I'm rooting for both teams in a sense, and just sort of like admiring how great people can play under time pressure. So we're going to need a couple minutes to recover here. Kostya's just been playing for 2.5 hours of Blitz. But we're going to get set for Dojo Talks. Let me just confer with Jesse and Kostya for a moment. I'm going to switch here to something else, and let's see. We'll try and organize a starting soon scene, but I'm just going to play the Welcome to the Dojo song for you guys once while I get organized with Jesse and Kostya. We're going to do Dojo Talks next, and then after that we'll do the American Cup. Dojo Talks top games from 1920 to 1972. Yeah.